Unmistakable brand voice. This is kind of a fun topic, right? Importance of a unique brand voice. So today we're going to talk about just how important your brand voice is. And with AI coming out, I hope that you do realize it is more and more and more important every single day for you to relate on a more personal level with your audience and your clients and everything else. This is Google search, but voice. Google search and voice. This is really, really, really important if you're a local business, because people now don't even type it in anymore, right? They search by voice. But how often do you find yourself doing the same thing, just sitting in your living room about anything? If you want to watch a YouTube video, you search by voice. So why would you still want to pay attention to SEO? You want to know your keywords that people are looking for. It's a little bit more natural, conversational, that type of thing. But you still want to know, what is it that people are looking for? And what are you talking about? And what are they looking for in terms of what you're doing? I know, for example, one of the things people are looking for, coaches in particular, are looking for are ways to speed up their processes by using AI a little bit more. I think that we need to be aware of what people are looking for. And I do talk a lot about productivity and time management, and AI is one of those ways that can help us there. And we all also need to be using AI. We need to be using technology. We need to be using systems. We need to be automating as much as humanly possible because everybody else is. Just start looking at, what are other people in your industry talking about? What are their titles? What kind of things are they saying that you need to be saying? Differentiating yourself in a saturated market. That's one of the first things people come to me about, is how on earth am I going to stand out? And once you start putting your content out, once you start getting your voice out and what you think and know and want to talk about, your opinions and all of that, you're going to pop up and you'll be here. And that's how you differentiate in a saturated market. You be you, and you put a lot more of you into it. Think about this. Is it a quick buck that you're after, or are you building a long-term business, and are you building a brand? Because if you're talking about something that you want to do today, then maybe your strategy is different. I am talking about long-term. I'm talking about building businesses, not an overnight, quick fix. Let's make some money today. You've also probably heard me, if you listen to me for a while, talk about blue oceans. I read that book years ago. If you haven't read it, it's an amazing book. And it essentially talks about how we can stand out. The red ocean is the saturated market. The blue ocean is you sitting there in your little boat all by yourself. So do you want to be that isolated and alone? No, not necessarily. That's the difference between, the sea of sameness here, you popping up here, or you being up here. You don't need to be up there. I mean, that's like the true blue ocean. You don't have to be up there. Being here, you can get to 8, 9 figures very easily. So don't stress yourself out unless, you're going for gold. But you can definitely, I would say every single person I've ever spoken to can do what they dream of doing just by moving to that level up here. What are some other trends? We want to make sure that we're creating an emotional connection. Creating that emotional connection is really, really difficult if you're not putting you in a lot of the stuff that you're doing. And that's why that is becoming a little bit more popular. That's why that is becoming a lot more of what you want to be doing in your business. So creating that emotional connection and creating engagement. You have to actually engage with people. If you can create that emotional connection, that's what people are after. You want to be building relationships. Even if those people are not buying from you today, it doesn't mean that they won't in 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. AI, that absolutely is something that you can be using right now. And again, if you're not getting on the bandwagon now, you will be left behind. Every time they bring in a new feature, you want to make sure that you're using it. Why? Because they want you to use it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be bringing it in. You want to be the one trying it out and seeing what it is, because they will push your stuff more. They being social media. They'll push your stuff more if you're using what they want you to use. That's why they're putting it out there. So those are good. So adapting to new technologies, adapting to new platforms, just adapting, period. Defining your brand voice, personality and style. So you could probably guess my personality and style from a lot of the stuff that I do. But if you jump on with me, you can also guess my personality and style, because you see me, you hear me, you are like, oh my God, she talks so fast. She's so crazy. Those crazy eyelashes. her colors are so loud. That's just who I am and what I'm all about. And the more you get to know me, the more you realize, and you either love that crazy or you can't stand that crazy, but you know me well enough to be able to decide that. And that's really what I want. That's what I'm after. If you have to change who you are to go online, then you might start copying what that person does. That's okay. That's okay at the beginning, because you're still finding your voice. You're finding who you are, whatever. But you need to know in the back of your mind, that's not who you are. You want to be finding your own feet, and you're, pivoting into your own style and your own person as you go. Take what you love and then add your own, or, drop what you hate, or however you want to mix it up. But you can be taking from a lot of different places, like we all do. In case you're writing down the letters, this is letter number 1. Value driven. So when we're defining our brand voice, one of the very first things we want to do is make sure that every single thing we do is for you, not for me, right? I want to do things that are going to help you improve your business. This is not about Erica. It's about my audience. So I want to give you as much value as humanly possible. But that's exactly what I want you to do in your business as well. So whenever you're creating something, whenever you're thinking about doing something, just make sure, what's the value to your client, your customer, or whoever. If you can't figure out what that value is, don't do it until you can, or scrap it entirely. Oh, second one, originality. Now, I'm sure I've talked about this a million times, but you want to make sure that you've got your own voice, your own thing going on. And again, it doesn't mean that you don't take little pieces from everybody. Everybody does that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. What I'm saying is, bring yourself in there. Start when you're first starting, you don't have the confidence. You're like, oh, this is the way to do it. And you should do that. Follow that step by step. Do it exactly how somebody's telling you to do it. You don't want to veer so far out of what they're doing so that nothing works. And you're like, I can't get it. Why does none of this work? No, you don't want to do that. But you do want to start finding your own, I'm turning my things off. You do want to start finding your own voice and finding your own methodology, your own things that you believe in, that you like to do. How you do it is a little bit different. Just bring a piece of you into it. That's originality. That's just being you in every sense of the word, right? Just one more thing on that. So perspective. I talk a lot about how sea of sameness. That's all the experts out there. When you pop up here, it's because you are growing or building your thought leadership. You're coming out of that, you're popping out of that crowd because your thought leadership is coming out. Originality, that's where you're going to show it in how you think, what you think. What is it that you want people to know about your thoughts on the industry? How are you showing what you want people to do? So years ago, I used to talk a lot about making sure that you are everywhere. And that was when everybody was saying, be in one place. And I was like, don't do that. Don't listen to them. Now everybody's like, yeah, omnipresent, be everywhere. And now everybody's kind of on that as well. But you don't want to be afraid of what you really believe in. If you believe something, say it. Don't worry about it. Integrity. This is the I, and this is integrity. And this involves being honest, transparent, consistent in your communication. So what does that mean? That means if you say you're going to do it, as much as you possibly can. I'm the first one that fails when I don't mean to. So I'm not going to say that you need to be perfect, but this integrity is what you're about. It's building your credibility. And if you tell somebody you're going to do something, you really want to do it, because that's how you build that trust and credibility with people. So integrity is something that you really want to try to focus on as much as humanly possible. Consistency. This is my word of the year. What is your word of the year? Drop it below. I want to hear your word of the year. Mine is consistency. And this goes back to the integrity. I feel, and it stresses me out, that I'm out of integrity when I am not consistent. And I have not been very consistent. I've had a lot on my plate, and excuse back to the wall. But that's why this is one of the things that I want on the forefront of what I'm doing. I really want to start building that consistency, because I know it's important. I know that I value it a lot, and I'm not in alignment with my own values when I'm not doing it. So I do think that that's where I really want to focus this year. I want to know, where do you want to focus? So consistency, tone and style. What is that all about? That means don't come out, like rearing to go one day and then the next day be like, yes. And, when you talk about consistency, you need to be blah, blah, blah. That's your tone, your personality, your style. You want to be the same person as much as humanly possible all the time. We have good days. We have bad days. Don't get me wrong. I get that. Somebody might say, wow, you sound kind of tired today. If my voice kind of drops a little bit, that's okay. They still feel you, hear you, know it's you. So as much as you can, make sure that your tone and your personality are the same. That means in your written words, that means copying, pasting ChatGPT is not within integrity or consistency. Don't do that. That's not your true voice and your true personality. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying make it your own. Make it speak like you, or rewrite it a little bit, or, do what you need to do, but make it consistent with your brand voice. The more AI is out there, the more everybody's going to start sounding the same. You don't want to be one of those people. Engagement. Yeah, this is a big one, right? Big one. We want to make sure that we are integrating as much as humanly possible engagement in everything that we do. So that could be jumping on and inviting people to a live where they can jump on Zoom with you. That could be saying, hey, drop your word of the year underneath. Those are both ways to be engaged with your audience, asking questions, putting polls, getting involved in stories, having people be able to engage with you in as many ways as possible. And with this one, I wanted to add in relevancy. Am I saying that right? You know what I'm talking about. Being relevant to your audience, making sure that what you are saying is resonating with them. So listen to your audience. I kind of said something about this at the beginning and I don't remember what it was, but this is the part where I'm going back to that. Make sure that you're listening to your audience. If they are all right, if your audience is really small or not the right audience, don't beat yourself up over crickets or, nobody engaging with you, because that's just the way it is until you build that audience. If you have a larger audience and they used to be engaged and now they're not so engaged, maybe it's just trending, maybe it's just dying down, or maybe they're on something else and you're not moving with them. So remember that, adapt. Remember to be listening to them. Remember to be asking them questions and seeing where they are and what's going on, what they want to hear from you, what they want to learn from you. It's really important to make sure that you are engaging your audience so that you are resonating with them. And that also means that you have a particular audience. You cannot resonate with everybody in the world. When I talk to coaches and I'm talking about my crazy life or having too much to do or being all over the place, multi, as everybody says they are, they get that. Whereas a doctor might be a little bit more rigid in his thinking and in his ways. And he's like, what is she talking about? She sounds like a crazy person. Do you see what I'm saying? So make sure that you're resonating with your clients. And that's in everything that you do, in your messaging, in your questions, in your content that you're putting out, in your courses, in your programs, everything, right? You want to be able to resonate.